We have our own problems as well as a genre that we need. We're still young. We're still a very young genre.
But we're still the most influential.
No, I'm not buying that.
We're still the most influential, and if you can't acknowledge that and change your system to include that, you're the one with the problem.
Think about what he just said. We're the most popular culture there is. And we still got problems, and we're still broken, but we're still dominating your culture.
So I don't know if you guys know this, but Drake actually did not submit his album More Life to the Grammys this year. And to me, this is a big deal. But my question is whether or not the Grammys actually care about a move like this, whether or not the Grammys really care about hip hop at all.
I don't think they care at all. I think they could care less if Drake submits or doesn't submit.
At this point, the only thing that they'd really be losing is respect from like a younger audience. And that's not anything they're looking for anyway. So it doesn't make a difference to them.
I think they care. I think they care about it because as far as if Drake decides not to do the Grammys, don't they lose viewership and any chances of him doing a performance and all types of, if I'm tuned in to see a Drake performance, you see what I'm saying, and it's an exclusive, it holds like a certain kind of prestigious element to it, doesn't it?
To who?
To both, I think for both parties. I think it's like as far as Drake and the Grammys goes, I think it's beneficial to both
But I don't think the people that's truly watching the Grammys care if Drake performs or not, or if Drake is nominated, or if Drake is whatever. I don't think they care if Kendrick is. I don't think they care if Jay-Z is. Any hip hop artist that you name out there, I don't think that the people that care about the Grammys care that that person is either nominated or performing.
Who's the Grammy audience anyway? It's not young, urban hip hop dudes.
Well, at least not live. People do watch the Grammys post. People will hop on to watch the performances
on
and things
YouTube.
like that. Right.
They'll check just the performances they want to see, but that's not doing anything for the Grammys because they're not getting those views.
I definitely think that it's not our demographic. I definitely think it's probably older, like I would say 35 plus. And then look at the genres, right? Country, like that demographic. If you look at pop, you know what I'm saying? That demographic.
That's any award show though, because MTV has those same genres and they get a higher young person view than the Grammys do. I think the Grammys is just an old, it's an old model, it's an old process, and it just hasn't evolved.
That the Grammys exist on their history.
Sure.
Like everybody knows deep down it don't mean anything.
Yeah, of course.
You know, it's just for publicity. And I think that, in my opinion, the Grammys may not care to the naked eye right now, but the Grammys in history have cared. They just show up late. You know what I'm saying? The Grammys do make efforts to kind of meet what the public is saying. They just do it like 6 years after we said it. You know what I'm saying? Like even the whole like they eradicated the gender division and stuff like that. They were so late. Everybody had been talking about why is there best female, best male. It doesn't matter. They all making music.
Right.
And they complained about that like 5 years before they eradicated it. And then even like urban contemporary for somebody like Gallant or Anderson .Paak, people have been talking about that for years and then they finally showed up with it. So I think that the Grammys do care. They just don't realize what's going on until people are already over it, and that's what's they've taken the biggest blow.
If I could piggyback off that, the late thing. Sometimes they'll get it wrong as far as in 2014, you know, when they had the Macklemore controversy.
I don't think they know that they messed up. I think they think that they gave the award to the right person. I think the way they look at it is, oh, these rap people are just bad, who cares?
I don't know, when we say they, like the Grammy as a brand, I don't attach the Grammy as a brand to the committee that buys their way into their voting status. You know what I'm saying? So it's like everybody's career exists off publicity. Everyone's career. And that's what the Grammys provides. It's the only thing they provide. It's like this fake ass, oh, here's a stamp of approval. You know what I'm saying? Even though it doesn't hold much to the core fans, it holds something to the industry. You end up selling more records. But the people who make these decisions, they buy their way in, and it's no secret. Everybody knows you buy your way into the Academy. I know engineers that don't know anything about hip hop, but for some reason have the right to nominate people. So they're gonna nominate the names they do know. But I don't particularly hold the Grammys accountable for that. I hold the Grammys accountable for the structure in which they haven't reformatted for who's in the Academy. I think that it'd be tight if they reformatted that and gave more people an opportunity to be in the Academy.
But that's counterproductive to your point, because if they cared, right, then they would fix that.
Because it's been a problem for decades now. It's not like this is a new issue.
That's the thing that the Grammys can do. If they can just restructure the way that the Academy is put together and more people that are representative of our culture, that know what's really moving our culture, and I think the Grammys will do that. I just feel like they're going to do it a little late.
But how long does it take? Like, why hasn't that happened yet?
Because they still do not see hip hop as a valid musical art form, the way they look at rock, country, and pop.
Well, how does that affect hip hop?
It doesn't.
It doesn't at all.
Unless hip hop lets it affect hip hop.
But then that's the thing that I was also like kind of reflecting on is the fact that Kanye skipped out last year, but his album was still submitted. So it still means something. They still want it.
Course.
So why do they want it? That's the question. Why is the Grammy still so powerful?
Because it's an accolade.
Exactly.
That's all it is. Like that's why Kanye submitted his album and then didn't show up. It was like, well, if I don't show up, I'm getting pub this way.
Right.
But if I submit my album and I win something, I'm still getting pub. Like Kanye still wants them to slap him on the back and say, "Good job, guy."
Of course.
So do you think the Grammys are important at all?
People that want to be considered the greatest of all time, you can't do it, at least right now, without the accolades. You can't. I don't think you can be considered top 5 without an accolade. You think
But
you
without a
can
Grammy, definitely.
You think so?
Absolutely.
I think it depends on who you're asking.
I mean, who do you think is the greatest rapper of all time?
I think Jay-Z is the greatest rapper of all time.
Okay.
Well, I feel Kendrick.
Okay, and I don't
Both
feel
of
either
well, does
one
Jay
of
have
them.
Grammys?
21.
21 Grammys. Damn.
21. Greatest of all time.
but
But I would never look at
But that's not the reason why
Yeah,
he's the greatest.
you're right.
Is it like do those 21 Grammys hold any credence for you saying that he's the
Exactly.
best? Like not at all, right? Blueprint does that for you. Black Album does that for you. It's the actual body of work. Now here's the thing. I think to get a certain level of popularity, you definitely need the accolades. You need the award shows. You need to be seen. People need to. You need to get praised.
Not anymore. The internet exists. We don't need accolades. We don't need award shows. You don't need any of that.
Yeah.
Like these dudes just do it to do it. But if you talk to rap dudes now, I don't think that those kids care about accolades. They don't care about Grammys or MTV awards.
No,
they don't care about that.
But they
It's
also-
changing.
But I think they would, going forward, if this goes back to the question to see if they actually cared about hip hop going forward. A lot of our generation, I know our younger generation, is on SoundCloud. So if they made a kind of like a category for the younger people, so that maybe it's a.
That's the only way that you would make the Grammys matter to the younger generation.
And they'd be the first.
And they'd be
out
the
of
first.
all of these award shows, out of all of these TV, just TV in general, just out of touch. TV and radio, for some reason, they're just late to the party. Nobody understands why. We can't figure it out. But nobody in hip hop cares about the Grammys until somebody wins a Grammy. Then it's a big deal.
Or loses a Grammy.
Right. Then everybody makes
Then
a
they
big
wanna
deal.
complain
So it's
about
like
it.
the Grammys are still important. It's almost like we want to tell ourselves it don't matter. But then when it comes around and somebody doesn't get an award, we make a lot of noise. Or somebody does get an award, it's like, yeah, finally. So it still means something.
Yeah, because it's somewhat of validation. That's the reason why I was saying that, like, it still means something, but it doesn't mean anything for the progression of your career, for you to be recognized as one of the greats. Like, it doesn't matter if you have 1 Grammy, 0 Grammys, or 21 Grammys like Jay-Z. If your body of work supports it, then the Grammys don't matter. Is it important? Is it that important? Does it make or break an artist? Hell no.
Right.
But is it something that you can put on the resume and be like, hey,
Well,
I'm something.
popping.
I'm gonna play against you in the whole make or break thing. That maybe it doesn't break them if they don't get it, but it for sure makes them if they do.
Oh, 1000%.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, does it break them? No. Does
You don't
it make
think it
them?
makes them, Mike?
No.
I think it-
no. Getting a Grammy makes a rapper? In what universe?
Okay, not in ours.
They
but
become
yeah,
more
you sell
popular.
more records.
Yeah.
You
For how long?
You get
reach
booked
into
for
how
more
long?
shows. You get booked for
It
more
don't
shows.
matter. You sell more than you would have if you didn't have the Grammy. It don't matter for how long. You definitely reach a new audience.
Okay, now do we know that for a fact? I can't see a kid being like, oh, this person won a Grammy, I'm gonna go buy his album. I don't see that.
Yeah.
But I feel like you get involved in more projects and getting more opportunities because
Of course,
you've
you
won
get
a Grammy.
crossover appeal now.
Yeah.
You get more crossover.
And more
appeal.
crossover people will be able.
Yeah.
They'll want to work with you, whether it be a feature, whether it be to
Give me
write on it.
examples. Give me receipts. I
Okay.
wanna know, like,
okay. So Forbes, I got it right here. Forbes
Okay.
reports that performers and producers see a Grammy bounce of at least 55% in concert ticket sales and producer fees during the year following a Grammy win. David Banner told the source that his producer fee jumped from $50,000 to $100,000 after he got a Grammy for Lollipop. So
Right.
if Grammy started awarding hip hop appropriately, the fact that, like, what was last year? Future had like one of the biggest records, right? And it wasn't even nodded. Right, and it was arguably one of the most like culture shifting records from what I
I feel like that was March Madness.
Yeah, that's exactly,
Yeah,
and that's what Kanye tweeted about.
Yeah, that was March
So Kanye was
Madness.
like, "Do any of these Grammy people know what March Madness is?" And the answer is no.
If the Grammys truly care, it's not about the artists. It's about their own structure. Once they fix the Grammys and how they look at artists, then we'll know. We'll know when they care by the people that they are nominating. I don't think it's going to take a Chance the Rapper or a Drake non-submission and stuff like that to change the Grammys. The Grammys have to change the Grammys.
and they don't think it's broken.
And they don't think it's broken.
They don't care about rap. They don't think it's musical at all. We don't play instruments. We don't do this. We don't do that. They don't look at rap as a valid art form.
But
So they don't think it's broken because it's like, why should we give these people awards? They're not doing anything.
But they give us the biggest performance slots. They give
because
us
we bring views.
Exactly.
They care about that. They care about viewership.
We're pop.
They don't
We're popular.
exactly.
We're
Exactly.
So then what is it then? The Grammys are still important to many of us in hip hop for some reason. We want to play the game of like, nah, we don't care, but then our album still gets submitted. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, when we win a Grammy, it's still a big deal. So it's like, either we care or we don't. I guess that's the question. Does hip hop care about the Grammys then?
That's fact. Hip hop does still care about the Grammys.
And so it's like
the other way around. Because it still matters to someone like Schoolboy Q. Even if you don't win, you get a Grammy nomination. You can put that in your bio or whatever, if for you. I'm sure that matters for him, but it may not matter.
Hip hop labels will never stop caring.
It matters. It matters to Wale. It matters to somebody like Wale.
Yeah, because Wale is just like Kanye.
Emotional.
Exactly.
Super
Wale
emotional.
wants that pat on the back. Schoolboy is not going around being like, yo, Sean, I want a Grammy. He don't care.
Yeah.
All he cares about is as long as a bunch of people show up to his shows, screaming out his lyrics, he's happy.
Right, and like I said, like we paint with a broad brush when we say that hip hop still cares about the Grammys. You know, if we break it down to each individual artist, you're gonna get a lot of different feedback. But as a whole, there's no genre of music that doesn't care about the Grammys, or else we wouldn't be talking about it right now. When you boycott something, all you do in some capacity is validate its importance. You know, when you come out speaking about how I'm not gonna participate, you're only telling the world how important it is.
That's a good point.
Hip hop still cares about the Grammys. Whether or not the Grammys care about hip hop, I think it's we shouldn't be focusing so much on the Grammys. The Grammys are still a reflection of mainstream media, and mainstream media as a whole has a problem with recognizing what's really moving the culture.
Even if I was not like a rap fan,
right,
I would still know that hip hop is the most dominant culture
in the world.
Yeah. So if Grammys doesn't respect that or acknowledge that, then that shows that they're clearly not paying attention.
But isn't the Grammys a reflection of just the entire the industry?
That's what I'm saying.
If we're talking top 40, a lot of these records that matter to you are not even on top.
It can't be a reflection of the entire industry because the entire industry even knows. That's why you got country dudes doing rap songs. That's why the majority of your pop artists are collaborating with rap artists. Like the industry knows that hip hop is the most dominant culture.
So with all that being said, do you think that the Grammys are just catered to white America?
Yes. All right, I'm sorry. It is. Yeah. I think black people are collateral damage when it comes to the Grammys.
Wow.
It's just an added bonus. We don't support what the Grammys supports. Like they're looking at money, right? They're looking at popularity, which comes from money.
Right.
That's white. Like black folks, we're not really involved in that discussion.
Are they wrong by saying hip hop's not gonna make us that much money?
Oh no, I'm not saying they're wrong. You know? But if they're caring about the whole package, if they're caring about monetary and artistic, because the artistic part is the part that they should be caring about. But we would be crazy to think that they really care about the black dollar or they really care about the black opinion. They don't at all.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know for a fact who their committees are, but I'd be willing to bet that they're at least 85.99999% white.
Right. But I'm also willing to bet that
I'm being very generous.
If you sat the committee down, I don't think they're going to tell you or going to say, I don't think they believe that they're going to say, we don't believe in the artistic value of hip hop. I don't know the answer they're going to give you. They would. You think so? I don't think the answer. I honestly don't believe they're going to sit down and really say that we do not care about the artistic value of hip hop.
I feel like they would just spin it to where it sounded like they were being respectful. Right. Like they would say some bullshit like, oh, well, it's not that we don't respect what you do, but it only speaks to a certain type of person, so therefore we can't really put it on this type of, which really means that they don't respect it.
As a hip hop listener, your taste is like, I think that this should win album of the year, and you wouldn't probably make it an extraordinary case, but how they structure is probably a different standard than how we, you know what I'm saying? So I think a good conversation where I think Kanye wanted to have an open dialogue with the committee. I think that's very needed because we need to understand as a culture what their standard is and what they're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think what it is maybe we're giving the Grammys too much credit in terms of what they think best is. I think that they've put these labels on the awards that we take a little more like, we look at it in a different lens than what they look at it as. Like, we still remember, like I keep going back to, this is still an entertainment show. And so it's like, man, half the time when anyone gets any award, there's gonna be controversy around, you know, the diehards saying like, what, you're tripping. There's no way you could say that this is the best. Look at all this other stuff over here. And I'm sure to some degree, they do recognize, and we see it as they don't care, when we should be seeing it as they have bigger fish to fry in the context of we still need people to tune in order for us to have a paycheck at the end of the day. All of us are out here trying to have a job. Everybody at the Grammys is the same way. And unfortunately, catering to the things that we value, catering to the things that we think are the artistically the best things that could ever come out, they may not go home with the bag the way that they need to.
That goes back to the viewership, goes back to the numbers, goes back to just the earlier points. It's just that it has to be, like, it's just entertainment. It's just different things than when you would be outside of it doing it on a recreation basis. You know what I'm saying? My man's is hot, whatever. My man's can spit. My man's makes really good music. But when you're involved in the music industry, it's still an industry.
Yeah. So then it lends back to the original question: do the Grammys actually care about hip hop?
If we say that they don't care about hip hop, they probably don't care about any music. You understand what I'm saying? They probably, in terms of what we're talking about artistically, they probably don't care at all. They probably don't care about the records. They don't care about the labels. They don't care about these people. They care about who's gonna bring the viewers. And I think entertainment in general can take a lesson in keeping up with the culture. You know what I'm saying? Because we talk about it with radio, we talk about it with TRL a few episodes back. It's like, yo, you guys are late to the party every single time. And that's the problem. It ain't just the Grammys, it's entertainment in general. So the fact that it took so long for Chance the Rapper to get the nods, they clearly care. Chance got the nods. They do care. They were just a little late to the party. If they didn't care, he would have never got the nods at all, ever. And I think, you know what I'm saying?
It's gonna come to a point where it's gonna change because the SoundCloud or the internet, it's really like your favorite artist, the people that are probably gonna make a difference are gonna come from that medium.
Right.
So I think the Grammys, for their sake of the show, for the sake of just the entertainment value, are gonna have to look at it from the point of how the industry is changing itself.
So do you think the Grammys are willing to change for their survival, or they're willing to change because they're acknowledging hip hop more so as an art form? Where I think is they want to change for survival, right? Because any entity, any person, any being, any company is going to do whatever it takes to survive.
Right.
Now, the point that we were making earlier, they don't necessarily need hip hop to survive. Are they going to make certain changes to maybe be a little bit more inclusive of hip hop? Maybe, possibly, but that doesn't mean that they care about hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's kind of like, I don't think that they'll care about hip hop until we see that the artist, which artists are getting nominated. I think that'll show more so to the public if they truly care about hip hop.
Hip hop has to make them care. We're not doing that.
Hip hop as a whole needs to be like, we're not submitting music.
Yeah.
We're not showing up. If you take away Kendrick, you take away Jay, you take away all of these big names, Kanye, it's like, we're not submitting music. We don't care about you. The Grammys now has to care about hip hop, and now they have to make a change.
It don't have to be everybody.
It doesn't have to be everybody, but it has to be. I think it has to be a lot of them. It can't just be those 3 guys or 4 guys.
Right. No, it has to be them, and then the secondary, and the third choices. You know, it'll have to be all the whole way down.
It does have to be everybody.
Yeah, it has to be the whole culture. You know, and so it's like that'll be the moment we can revisit this, and I'll be like, dang, I was wrong, man. And they not really caring. They're gonna continue their award show, and they're gonna award Taylor Swift and Adele and everybody who are still deserving of their nods. But I got hope, man. I think the Grammys have, like I said, they've made efforts, and I think they're gonna continue. And if we make more noise, we can expedite that process.